11:31, and I'm going to call the meeting to
there's a chemistry, there's a musical chemistry, and where you can really, just anything can happen, and that's the most exciting thing about improvisation. I think that sense of possibility.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'll do roll call. Trustee Lautner.
Here.
Trustee Zora.
Here.
Trustee Seidel.
Here.
Trustee Council.
Here.
Trustee Sheehan.
Here.
Trustee Stewart.
Here.
President DeCipio is absent this evening. In his absence, we will need a motion to appoint a president pro tem.
I would like to make a motion to appoint Trustee Robert Lautner as President Pro Tem for the September 28th, 2021 Village Board meeting. Second.
You can just be a voice vote. So everyone in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Yes.
Need a second to get set up. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this evening's board meeting. Let's start with the availability of public participation for agenda-related items only. So is anyone in the audience that would like to address the board this evening? Okay, then we shall proceed. Megan, if you could read the consent agenda.
Yes, thank you, President Pro Tem Lautner. The items on this evening's consent agenda are as follows. A, approval of minutes. 1, village board meeting, August 24th, 2021. 2, closed session meeting, August 24th, 2021. 3, village board work session meeting, September 4th, 2021. And 4, closed session meeting, September 4th, 2021. B, action. 2021 leaf loading, transportation, and disposal motion. 1, to waive the formal bidding process, and 2, to enter into a contract with Rainbow Farm Enterprises, Inc. for the disposal of leaves at $650 per truckload and not to exceed $36,000, and 3, to authorize the village manager to execute the necessary contract documents. C, action, MWRD inflow and infiltration compliance requirements, dye water testing. Motion. 1, to accept the bid proposal from Sewer Assessment Services, LLC, in a not to exceed amount of $25,000, and 2, to authorize the village manager to execute the contract documents. D, action, accounts payable and payroll summary. Motion. 1, to authorize the president and chairperson of the Finance Committee to sign the register for bills and authorize the treasurer and village clerk to sign checks in payment of operating bills and salaries as itemized in the check registers and motion. 2, to authorize the village treasurer and village clerk to sign checks in the payment of payroll and other bills that become due between this date and the next village board meeting, with subsequent approval of the payroll register and voucher register by the Board of Trustees at its next meeting.
Okay, roll call vote or voice vote?
I need a motion to approve, and then a second,
Go ahead.
and then.
Go ahead. Second?
Okay, Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Seidel?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Megan. I would also like to mention that the published agenda did have that our representative, LaShawn Ford, was going to be in attendance, and unfortunately that was unable to happen this evening, so I do apologize with that cancellation. The next item on the agenda is the village manager's report, but I'd like to ask the board if you'd have any issue with moving up section 14, I think it's 14, section C, paragraph 2, for a discussion about TIF. We do have a representative here from Woodwind of the World, Marcia Owen, and if there's anybody has any issues with that, I'd like to move them up to this point in the agenda. Any issues? Okay. Marcia Owen, would you like to address the group, or Jermaine, I think trustee, you would like to make your report and cover this area first, and then if there's any questions for her, then she can cover that.
Sure.
Okay.
You want? Mark it. Yeah, I'll go ahead. So we have one item that is up for action and discussion. This would be the inducement resolution of 333 North Grange Road, Village Market. The general background is that the village has been approached by Woodmen of the World Life Insurance Society, Woodmen Life, regarding the redevelopment of a portion of the Village Market Shopping Center. Woodmen Life, the property owner, is interested in demolishing the existing structure at 333 North Grange Road and constructing a new freestanding building that will be leased to a new grocery store tenant. The subject property is located in the Village Market Tax Increment Financing District and the Village Market Business District. Woodmen Life has advised village staff that financial assistance is needed from the village in order to proceed with this project. The proposed redevelopment includes construction of a new building and construction of a large underground detention vault for stormwater management, among other improvements. Staff is consulted with the village's special counsel, Kathleen Orr, and confirmed that these are eligible costs under the TIF and Business District Acts. If the village board is supportive of incentivizing the project using TIF and Business District dollars, it would be appropriate for the board to consider the attached inducement resolution. The purpose of this resolution is to acknowledge the village's conceptual approval of the proposed project. It does not commit any incentive to the developer. Approval of the resolution would allow the village to request additional information to determine how much of an incentive will be appropriate and to work with the developer to negotiate the terms and conditions of the redevelopment agreement. Approval of this resolution would also allow Woodmen Life to incur costs which may be eligible for reimbursement in the event of a redevelopment agreement is negotiated at a future date. The staff recommends approval of this inducement resolution for 333 North Grange Road. Motion to approve a resolution of the Village of Grange Park, Cook County, Illinois, to induce the redevelopment of certain property under a tax increment financing redevelopment project area and business district.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, so open it up for discussion. Trustee Stewart?
Yes, I'm in support of this resolution at the moment.
Okay, Trustee Zara?
I am very excited to see the possibility of a renovation at the Village Market, and I'm definitely in favor of improving the space.
Trustee Seidel?
Thank you. I concur with Trustee Zora. It's exciting to see something happening over there, so I am in support. Thank you.
Okay, Trustee Council?
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. I, too, agree with my fellow trustees. It's long in the making, and I'm happy to see some improvements. Thank you.
Okay, and Trustee Sheehan?
Thank you, Mr. President. I support this 100%, and I'm looking forward to the redevelopment if this so does go through. Thank you.
Thank you. And just a comment and clarification, ensuring there's no financial commitment at this point. It's basically the willingness to listen and negotiate and discuss. But it is very exciting to see the opportunities of things potentially coming certainly to our community and to this area of the community. So although I'm not voting, I'm very excited about this as well. Ms. Owens, is there anything you'd like to add or comment on relative to the project?
I think the description we have kind of sets out the project to date, but I know on behalf of ownership, they're very excited to have an opportunity to do something to renovate the office building. It's obsolete, I think as many of you probably know, to attract today's tenants for office and retail, and so this will give hopefully a fresh look to the center and also jumpstart what we hope will be some redevelopment opportunities in the rest of the center going forward.
The question I did have also is the general timing. Is it, something that they are interested in right away, down the road, just maybe a little bit of the timing of it?
I would expect to see, progress within the next year. I think the project will go very quickly from this point forward. There were some stops and starts in kind of getting together a preliminary budget, just with contractor delays and the shortages that everyone has been experiencing right now with COVID. So we're hoping that, with this, after this resolution, that the project will then go kind of at a faster pace.
Great, thank you. Thank you for coming. Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Seidel?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart? The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Thanks for allowing us to move that up, and thanks for coming.
We appreciate all of your support.
Okay, that moves us into the village manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. I have just one item to report on this evening. The village became aware of concerns expressed about the upcoming work that was taking place on behalf of NICOR in making some upgrades to their system in certain areas of the village. Specifically, we had some residents that were concerned about what the upgrades meant, construction on private property. Their concerns are understandable. So staff met with NICOR on a couple of occasions. We met remotely, not in person. We talked to them yesterday and throughout this morning into the afternoon, and we put together some additional information, and we made that available on the village's website. In addition to the information that was currently there, we also posted some information on Facebook and sent out a special e-brief. So I think there's some really good information there, helpful information for residents who are that live within those construction areas have some good information with regard to the project supervisor who they can call if they have questions about restoration or the type of work that's going to happen on their property. We encourage residents to take a look at our website, take a look at the project supervisor, give them a call if you have any questions. NICOR has encouraged us to do so. Every home is just a little bit different. That's going to be the best resource in moving forward through the completion of this project. And with that, that completes my report. Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Trustee Council for Administration Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. My report includes the following. There's vehicle sticker and dog license renewals. New vehicle stickers and dog licenses are now available for purchase. Renewal applications were sent by mail earlier this month, and residents are encouraged to renew their stickers and licenses online. New residents can stop by Village Hall or visit the village's website to print and complete a new application. Please call the village with any questions. The deadline to renew vehicle stickers and dog licenses is October 31st. Community campfire at Yena Park. The Community Park District will host its first community campfire on Thursday, October 14 at 6 p.m. at Yena Park. Community members are invited to experience the park by firelight, roast marshmallows, and get to know their neighbors. Standard s'mores materials will be provided, and Park District staff will be on location to handle supplies. All ages are welcome. Fall cleanup. The village's annual Fall Cleanup Day will take place on Saturday, October 16th. Residents may dispose of an unlimited amount of refuse, including furniture, appliances, and other large items. Items need to be placed at the curb by 6 o'clock a.m., and residents must include 5 refuse stickers in order for their items to be picked up. Visit the village's website for more information and requirements. As a reminder, regular garbage will not be picked up on this date. Halloween activities. The annual Haunted Trolley Trick-or-Treat event, sponsored by the Grange Park Chamber of Commerce, has been canceled again due to COVID-19. In lieu of this event, the village encourages residents to safely participate in the LaGrange Park Public Library's first ever Trunk or Treat event on Saturday, October 23rd at 5:00 p.m. in the Spooky Shuffle 5K at Memorial Park on Saturday, October 30th at 8:00 a.m. Visit the Library and Community Park District's website for more information. Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Council. Building and Zoning Committees, Trustee Zara. That's true. It's on.
Okay. There have been 713 building permits issued so far this year compared to 625 year-to-date last. Estimated construction costs for the month are just over $1.1 million, up 19% compared to last August. Permit fees collected for the month were $20,912, down approximately 12% compared to last August. 169 inspections were conducted in August compared to 148 last August. 14 were not approved. Year-to-date, 1,314 inspections have been conducted compared to 798 year-to-date at this time last year. There were 11 code enforcement property maintenance matters addressed in the month. Additional permits were issued for Plaza 31, including the build-out for the new Level Up business and for the new sign. Bethlehem Woods submitted plans for a permit for a memory care unit. Staff worked with Murphy's Transmission on design changes for the roof construction. There were challenges with material shortages and increased costs on various materials. A permit for a demo and new single-family home was submitted for the block of 600 Brainerd. The builder is planning on additional 2 homes in the same general area. Plans were submitted for 2 new homes at the vacant lots of Sherwood Road and 31st. Staff attended the court date for the home with ongoing property maintenance violations in the 600 block of Ashland, which has now been listed for sale. Staff was also granted access to the interior of the home. The home has been deemed condemned and uninhabitable. Staff continues to work with the prosecutor, the property's owner's attorney, and other agencies to attempt to achieve compliance and get some form of assistance for the occupants. Plans for 1201 Barnesdale have been submitted for a full renovation of the interior and exterior of the building and the north parking lot for Duboc Electric. Additionally, Patrick has been working with ownership for smaller permits related to roof replacement, brick repair, and tuff pointing. And that is all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Zara. Engineering and Capital Projects Committee, Trustee Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. I have 3 items on my report this evening. The first item being work is started on the Grange Road Water Main Replacement Project Phase 2. The contractor, Suburban General Construction, has installed 2 12-inch water mains in the Meadowcrest Parkway north of 31st Street and then west in the alley to LaGrange Road. Water main is also installed along LaGrange Road north of Garfield Avenue and then east through the gas station property and a private residence to Meadowcrest Road. After both sections of the main have been coordinated, water service transfers can begin. Second item, on August 31st, a pre-construction meeting was held for the 2020 CDBG grant paving program. The constructor, Lydall Brothers, Inc., said that work on the project will start in mid-September. The project involves spot curb replacement, pavement patching, and street resurfacing on Meadowcrest Road between 29th and 31st Street and Woodside Road between 29th Street and Meadowcrest Road. The third and final item, IDOT and the MWRD approved the plans and specs for the Green Initiative Permeable Pavement Intersection Project. This project has been advertised for bid, and the bid opening date of September 14th was set. The project involves creating a permeable pavement at the intersections of Monroe Avenue with Community Drive, Robin Hood Lane, and Sherwood Road. And that concludes my report, Mr. President Pro Tem.
Thank you, Trustee Stewart. Moving into Public Safety Committee, Trustee Sidell.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. The total number of crimes this year are 30% higher, with 300 reported this year compared to 221 last year. Of those 300, 147 are identity theft reports associated with the Illinois Department of Employment Security's claims scams due to the pandemic. Traffic enforcement is at 2,248 total tickets issued through August of 2021. Overall police activity is 15% higher to last year, with 5,776 total incidents reported through August of 2021 compared to 4,938 total incidents through August of 2020. 134 self-initiated building and park checks were completed throughout the month, along with 86 traffic stops and 93 assists to the fire department. Department members attended 66.5 hours of training, along with the completion of required monthly online training and Lexipol daily training bulletins. The Adopt a Cop program for all Grange Park schools, grades K through 6, will again be placed on hold due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Staff will be working on scheduling lockdown drills at the LaGrange Park schools. Officers Robert Weber and Chris Cooper graduated from the Cook County Sheriff's Police Academy and have begun the field training program. Sergeant Matt Fellers and staff took part in a 2-day National Night Out event, which yielded positive results from residents of the community. The police department has passed all phases of the NIBRS National Incident-Based Reporting System transition and has been authorized by the FBI to transition to the new reporting program. This has been a very long and detailed 6-month process. On Saturday, October 23rd, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the lobby of the LaGrange Park Village Hall, the police department, in coordination with the DEA, will be hosting a drug take-back event. Residents can discard expired prescriptions or over-the-counter medication by placing the pills into a baggie and disposing them into an approved container located in the lobby of the Village Hall. Reminder, no needles, pill bottles, or liquids will be accepted. A friendly reminder about securing one's personal property at all time. Please lock your vehicles and residence, especially during overnight hours. If you're going on vacation, please utilize the new online Vacation Watch portal, frontlinepss.com/LaGrange Park, or log into the village website and access the portal under the police department page. If you do not have internet access, feel free to fill out a Vacation Watch card at PD between the hours of 9 and 4:30 p.m. That concludes the police department summary for August 2021. Next, the fire department activities for August 2021. EMS incidents this month, 159. There's been 1153 year-to-date compared to 1173 year-to-date in 2020. Fire rescue incidents this month, 47. There's been 347 year-to-date compared to 343 total year-to-date in 2020. Fire department personnel participated in the National Night Out Parade with Sparky and many vehicles. A $602,000 regional grant award was announced for a new Incident Command and Communications vehicle, which is used by Mabus Division 10, of which we belong. The vehicle is housed at the Westmont Fire Department, and the grant was hosted by Westmont. Our Mabus Division will be offsetting a large portion of the matching funds for the grant. The fire chief attended the FDIC International Fire Department Instructors Conference in Indianapolis, attending classes, trade show, and participating in the National Fallen Firefighters Association 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb in the Lucas Oil Stadium. 2 of our PSI contract paramedic firefighters, Adam Mobley and Penn Carbonero, left in August. We interviewed and approved the hiring of Chelsea Dennis, who will fill one of the positions. The fire chief, along with some other personnel, attended the public safety discussion at Yana Park. Plans were approved and the permit was issued for the fire sprinkler system at 23 East 31st Street, Hop District. Personnel began staffing EMS coverage for the Nazareth home football games. Annual testing began on all fire department fire hose, which will take place over several weeks. On August 11th and 12th, the fire department responded to multiple calls for down power lines and arcing electrical equipment due to the weather. At a home on the 400 block of Grange Road, a line fell on multiple cars and a garage. And that concludes the fire department report.
Thank you, trustee Sidell. Public Works, trustee Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. Monthly report for August 2021. DPW repaired 3 water main breaks this month and replaced 2 leaking lead water services with new copper pipe. The village brush program continued through the first full week in August, making at least 1 pass down every street. Due to severe weather, an additional sweep of the town for brush was conducted. Numerous parkway repairs were completed, from excavation from utility repairs. Tree maintenance and removals have increased and will continue throughout the year to maintain our parkway trees. Final asphalt patches were completed from previous excavations, water and sewer. Sidewalk replacement data has been collected for the concrete program. We'll talk about that later. Hydrant flushing on the east side of the village should be just about wrapped up to provide maintenance to our system and ensure quality water distribution. GIS work has continued collecting data on the village training throughout the village. Water meters were read in section 2. 15 monthly bacterial samples were taken. Various water and sewer work orders were completed, along with resident tree concerns and general construction inquiries. Many water and sewer service calls were completed, along with meter appointments, inspections, and Julie locates. Routine maintenance to the department fleet and equipment was provided. Police and fire vehicles. Next, we have the Homestead Road Lighting Improvement Project. The purpose of this agenda item is to approve a contract with H&H Electric to replace streetlight poles and lighting on Homestead Road. Last year, Public Works repaired a water main break near 216 Homestead Road. Before the repair, Lions Pinner Electric was called to remove an existing streetlight pole due to the proximity of the repair and fear of it falling. Once it was removed, it was evidence that the top portion of the concrete pole was badly deteriorated. During the budget process, staff designated funds to replace 7 poles along Homestead. Hancock Engineering prepared bid specifications and opened the bids on September 14th. We received 3 qualified contract bids. 80 Lions Pinner, 49,975. Utility Dynamic Corp, 52,800. Funds for this project are allocated in the village market TIF 288-80-82900 in the amount of $75,000. Note, staff researched pole manufacturers and determined that it's in the village's best interest to continue with concrete poles due to their longevity and incorporate an LED pedestrian style fixture. We have the specs attached in our board packet. Staff recommends the village board approve this contract with H&H Electric at tonight's board meeting. Therefore, make a motion to approve a contract with H&H Electric Company in the amount of $47,680 for the Homestead Road Lighting Improvement Project.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second discussion. Trustee Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. Yeah, H&H is a qualified contractor. The price came in under what we had allocated for the funds. Down the road, it's could be a safety issue. We definitely don't want to see anybody getting hurt. It was good that we caught that, Director Ratty and his staff, so I would have no problem asking for this to be passed. Sir.
Thank you. Trustee Council.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. I think that obviously for safety reasons, this needs to be replaced, and I would support this. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. The bid came in well under budget, which is great, and any safety concerns that we could sort of mitigate is a really good thing, so I approve as well.
Trustee Zara.
I agree with my fellow trustees, and I also wanted to say I'm glad that these are LED, so good job with that. Thanks.
And Trustee Sidell.
I support this as well.
Okay, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Zora,
Yes.
Trustee Seidel,
Yes.
Trustee Council,
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan,
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Next, Mr. President Pro Tem, I have a point of clarification before I go on to this next one. After I read it, do you want me to stop after motion one? We'll vote on it and then go to motion two?
We can either approach that, or you could cover both options, and then I would say make the motion of the one that you would recommend based upon what you see here.
Okay, well, we'll do that then.
Okay.
That's fine. Thank you for the input. Okay, next we have the 2021 Sidewalk Replacement Utility Restoration Program. The purpose is to approve a one-year contract with Globe Construction to perform concrete restoration services. Each year, the village budgets funding for concrete work related to the annual sidewalk replacement program and utility repairs. Under this program, the village replaces sidewalks determined to be a potential trip hazard at no cost to the resident and replaces curbs, aprons, and sidewalks removed from utility work. Public Works staff prepared bid specifications and open bids were received and opened on September 14th. The lowest responsible bidder is Globe Construction. They came in at $43,867, Suburban Concrete $54,920, Schroeder and Schroeder $65,800, Alliance Contractors $80,022. Additionally, the village provides a pass-through program enabling residential participation for sidewalk replacement at our contract pricing. Staff anticipated that this program would cost an additional $5,000 as indicated in this year's budget, with revenue also budgeted at $5,000 in parentheses. Below provides for a comparison of budget amounts and anticipated estimate actual amounts. We see it below us: annual sidewalk replacement, MFT, budgeted amount $24,500. We see the actual amounts for restoration, residential participation, sidewalk for the totals. This memo provides two options for the board to consider. Option one, approve a contract with Globe, the lowest responsible bidder, in an amount not to exceed $65,000, to include contingency dollars that would allow the village to sufficiently account for the residential participation sidewalk program as noted. My screen jumped, hang on. Sorry about that, let's go back. Option one, approve a contract with Globe, the lowest responsible bidder, in an amount not to exceed $60,000 to include contingency dollars that would allow the village to sufficiently account for the residential participation sidewalk program, as the deadline for participation is October 6th. See, language was on the village's website. With this option, any additions to the operating budget would be cost neutral, as the cost would be offset with the residential participation payments. Option two, approve a contract with Globe, the lowest responsible bidder, in an amount not to exceed $65,000 to include contingency dollars that would allow the village to sufficiently account for the residential participation sidewalk program as noted in option one, and additionally to include additional dollars for the village's annual sidewalk replacement program. These costs would be charged to the Public Works budget in the general fund, with an estimated impact of approximately $9,000 to $12,000. This fiscal year, the Public Works Department received a substantial number of requests from residents for sidewalk review. In receiving the request, staff evaluated the sidewalk request and determined that there is approximately $37,000 in sidewalk squares that meet the criteria for replacement. This year's budget includes $24,500 for the annual replacement program. It is atypical that resident requests eligible for replacement exceed the village's budget amount. Should the village board choose this option, a budget amendment may be necessary at the end of the fiscal year. Staff's recommendation, Public Works recommends option 2. By replacing the full eligible list of sidewalk squares now, the village would not have to address these areas with temporary asphalt this year to be replaced next year. However, should the village board choose option 1, it is recommended that the village consider an increase to the annual sidewalk program in next year's budget, if feasible. Mr. President Pro Tem, at this time, I would like to introduce a motion of option 2 to approve a contract with Globe Construction in a not-to-exceed amount of $65,000 for the 2021 Sidewalk Replacement Program and Utility Restoration Program to include the Resident Participation Program in additions to the village's Sidewalk Replacement Program.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion, Trustee Sheehan, any further comments on that?
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, in years past, you know, our roads were in bad shape, and we tackled that. I think the sidewalks have kind of been put to the side over the years. We've talked about it since 2013 that we've been on the board, possibly bringing this back so that residents would have the option to buy squares on their own at contract village cost. So I think not to kick the can down the road any further, but I think that we need to put as much at it right now to avoid any safety issues. And I mean, quite frankly, I don't know, I've seen going through town walking and on a bicycle, the red paint, so the numbers are the pink paint in the asphalt patches that are out there. So I think staff's doing the best they can with what little resources that they have. But this needs to be looked at now, and then going in the future, I don't think it's going to be as hard to take.
Thank you, Trustee Sheehan. Trustee Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. Looking at both options, I agree with Trustee Sheehan that option 2 would probably be the best option. And looking at the number of eligible squares, we have 34 roughly for option 1, and then for option 2 we have over 60. I for one have had a couple of squares that have been not great on my block. They've been rectified since then, but it seems like the more efficient option would be to go ahead and replace all of them instead of just putting a Band-Aid and putting asphalt for next year. So I think option 2 is by far the best option.
Thank you, Trustee Stewart. Trustee Zara.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. I also agree. I think option 2 makes more sense because it's a more permanent solution rather than a temporary one. Thank you.
Trustee Seidel.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. For someone that walks the sidewalks a lot, it's a safety issue as well. So I am in full support of option 2. It's going to have to be done eventually anyway. So I think just do it all at once. So I'm in full support of option 2.
Thank you, Trustee Seidel. Trustee Council.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. I too agree that it should be done all up front, and it is definitely a safety issue, and I walk the sidewalks too, so I appreciate the safety issues that surround this. I'd like to see it all get done. Thank you.
Thank you. Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Seidel?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. If I could add just a short comment here, I'd like to commend staff on the tremendous amount of work that went into this, in reviewing the board packet and the identification, using GIS again, and having the level of detail took a lot of work. So it's not lost on us, and thank you for your efforts that went into identifying where all these squares need to be replaced. So thank you for that effort. Okay, Trustee Sheehan, moving on.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. Okay, so we have multiple change orders for the 31st and the Grange Road Water Main Project. The purpose, we have to consider 4 change orders to that project. General background, at the June 22nd Village Board meeting, the Village Board awarded a contract to Suburban General Construction in the amount of $684,827 for the LaGrange Road and 31st Street Water Main Replacement Project. The village budgeted $980,000 in the water fund, capital outlay $570,80500 for this project. Project construction is nearly complete and restoration efforts will soon be underway. Due to the complexity of this project, existing field conditions, and desired changes for restoration work, staff recommends that the village board consider 4 change orders to the contract. Starting with number 1, change order number 1, 4-foot diameter valve vault, $3,500. Village Public Works recommends installing a valve vault instead of a service box for the new water connection to the Hop District Brewery. Valve vaults provide accessibility to the valve for future maintenance and eliminate the need for excavation and restorations if the valve requires service. Let's see. We'll just go right down to the motion. We'll go back and forth. Does that sound good?
Well, yeah, that would be fine.
Okay, so let's go to motion to approve change order 1 with Suburban General Construction in the amount of $3,500 for a 4-foot valve vault.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Discussion, Trustee Sheehan.
Okay, Mr. President, so we're gonna welcome Hop Brewing. It's gonna be a welcome addition to our community. There's gonna be a lot of repairs done on the side of that business on Meadowcrest, just north of 30th, going to the 31st, going to the alley. We want to think of any future work that has to be done in that service valve. This would allow the opportunity to get in there without having to bust open the stamped concrete or whatever concrete work is going to be over there. I know for a previous life that this 4-foot valve vault would be beneficial rather than the little opening that would be there. We don't want to impact the business at any near future date. So I would support that to get that in the ground.
Okay, Trustee Stewart.
Yeah, I agree with Trustee Sheehan as well. This option future-proofs maintenance, and I think it's a great option.
Trustee Zara.
I just had a question for Public Works. Why did we not decide to do this initially? Was it an unforeseen condition that came up that thought this was a better solution?
I think Mark might be able to answer this a little bit better during the design phase, but if I had to take a snap at it, I would say that, we really weren't sure what the Hop was going to do to begin with and where their service was going to be, if there was even going to go, if there was even going to be a viable project as well. Once we got into the project and realized that they needed to bring in a new service, one for an upgraded fire sprinkler system, they were able to tap in off the side versus being on 31st Street where their current service goes. Okay. So it just made sense that when it wasn't added as a 4-foot vault at the time of the plan, it was just a valve box that, if anything goes wrong with those, they get filled up with gravel or any material, you got to dig them up, and now we're going to be potentially, breaking up brand new concrete. So,
Okay.
Some of these are field condition changes as well.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to ask that question. I approve.
Trustee Seidel.
I support this as well.
And Trustee Council.
I too support this.
Okay, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Zora,
Yes.
Trustee Seidel,
Yes.
Trustee Council,
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan,
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, next we'll go to change order 2, water main connection at LaGrange Road and 31st. The original plan called for a cut and cap of the existing 8-inch water main under LaGrange Road at Garfield, where it was anticipated connecting with a 10-inch main on Garfield. It was field verified that these two mains do not connect. Required additional work to join them. Otherwise, the main under LaGrange Road from Jackson to Garfield would result in a dead-end main, which is not allowed per EPA standards. Therefore, I'll make a motion, number 2 here, to approve a change order with Suburban General Construction in the amount of $15,985 for connection at LaGrange Road in Garfield.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Trustee Sheehan, discussion?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. President Pro Temp. Like the comment said, the IEPA doesn't allow it. We have to maintain safe drinking water. You know, it was unforeseen. Sometimes you don't, Mark will tell you, sometimes you don't know until you dig something up what's tied in and what's not. I know that well from a previous life. So we have to have a backfeed, and I would support this.
Okay, trustee Stewart,
Yeah, I support as well. Thank you.
trustee Zorro.
I support this. I had another question. Director Ratty, if we had our GIS or GIS in place, then we would have known this already, correct? I'm not saying that this is our fault, but I'm just saying that that's the purpose of the GIS, is that we would know all these.
If our GIS was 100% built out on the
Yeah.
water systems and we've been collecting data for 20, 30 years and we
Yeah.
had maps that were that old, yes, we would have probably known this. Moving
Okay.
forward, now that we do know
Right.
this, you know, we've been actually going out and utilizing our collector app and actually putting in all of the points, the fittings and everything. So as of whenever they do this project, what I think they're thinking tomorrow, we'll be able to field enter in all those points and then it'll become live. So then from here on out, we'll know this connection now exists.
That's great.
So-
Okay, that was what I was trying to get at. Thank you.
Okay, trustee Sidell
I'm in support.
and trustee Council.
I'm in support also.
Okay, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Zora,
Yes.
trustee Sidell,
Yes.
trustee Council,
Yes.
trustee Sheehan,
Yes.
trustee Stewart.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, next we'll go on to change order 3 for the stamped concrete that I kind of touched on earlier. Restoration efforts will soon begin as the underground portion of the water project pretty much is coming to a close. The current fiscal year budget includes $5,200 for streetscape improvements to the 31st and the Grange Road Business District corridor, specifically along Meadowcrest Road adjacent to the Hop Brewery. Sidewalks along this stretch are getting replaced as part of a water project and slightly realigned closer to the building to provide deeper parking stalls. Staff requested pricing from the contractor to incorporate stamped concrete in the parking stalls and a new barrier curb to distinctively separate the sidewalk from the stamped concrete and provide a natural bumper stop. These additions will significantly improve the overall appearance and safety in the area of the business district. Funding is available in the 31st LaGrange Road Business District Fund for these improvements. Therefore, make a motion to approve change order number 3 with Suburban General Construction in the amount of $30,000 for stamped concrete, streetscape, and barrier curb improvements.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Discussion, trustee Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Funding is available in the 31st LaGrange Road Business District Fund for these improvements. Everybody's excited with the new business going there at 31st and Meadowcrest. We want to make it as safe as we can over there. At 31st and Beach has the stamped concrete as well as Plaza 31. It looks beautiful, little streetscape design. I think it's worth it. I think it's a good investment, sir.
Thank you, trustee Council.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. I definitely agree the stamping is very attractive, and I'm in full support of this. Thank you.
Trustee Sidell.
I agree with what has been said. It's a great use of the business development fund, so I'm in full support.
Trustee Zorro.
I think this was a great suggestion by staff, and I also echo that I like the streetscaping improvements and the fact that it ties the east end and the west end of 31st a little bit better. Thanks.
Okay, and trustee Stewart.
We have the budget to include this type of work, and you know the restoration efforts have to take place, so I don't make them aesthetically pleasing. So I approve as well.
Okay, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Zora,
Yes.
trustee Sidell,
Yes.
trustee Council,
Yes.
trustee Sheehan,
Yes.
trustee Stewart.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, last we have the change order number 4, alley excavation double mobilization. In June, the village board approved a contract with Suburban General, including an alternative bid to restore the alley in concrete versus asphalt. A few weeks ago, Staff informed the contractor that the alley reconstruction required a two-phased approach to maintain access to Matone's Restaurant North parking lot to ensure the continuation of business operations. The contractor informed the village that this bid did not reflect this approach due to double mobilization for the excavation process. As such, the contractor is requesting additional funds to accommodate our request. Therefore, we make a motion to approve change order 4 with Suburban General Construction in the amount of $6,500 to excavate the alley in 2 mobilizations.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Trustee Sheehan, discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. The last thing I want to do coming out of a pandemic is to cause any more trouble for Matone's. We don't want to see them shut down for any length of time. This is something that we have to do to ensure continuation of one of our restaurants. On 31st Street, it's cost of doing business, unfortunately, at this point. I support it.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Council.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. I agree with Trustee Sheehan to the extent that Matone has been a really good family business and a really good business in town. And we need to do everything that we can to support their efforts because they came through the pandemic and they're fully functioning. So I support this.
Okay, Trustee Sidell.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. It's unfortunate that there's the additional cost. However, as it's been said by my fellow trustees, we can't have a business stop, especially during this time. So it's unfortunate but necessary. So I'm in full support.
Okay, Trustee Zora.
I support this.
And Trustee Stewart.
Love Matone, this is a no-brainer for me, I support.
Okay, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Zora,
Yes.
Trustee Sidell,
Yes.
Trustee Council,
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan,
Yes,
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
that's all I have tonight, Mr. President Pro Tem.
Thank you for your reports and your work and your motions to move forward with these projects.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I will deliver the financial update as of August 31st. Fiscal year-to-date general fund revenue is at 23% of the annual budget and about $1.22 million, or 36.8% lower than the prior year. The cause of the decrease is the delay in property tax bills by the county. All other revenues combined are over $275,000 higher compared to last year. Property tax receipts are down about $1.5 million, or 95.9% compared to the prior year. The second installment bills are typically sent out midsummer, and the village starts receiving receipts from the county in July. The bills were delayed this year, and the due date was postponed to October 1st. The village received its initial distribution for the second installment in early September. This timing variance should be resolved by November. Other local taxes are down by about $7,700, or 2.8%, due to the continuing decline in telecommunication taxes. Intergovernmental receipts are higher by about $240,500, or a little over 25% compared to last year. Income tax is 31.3% higher than last year, while sales tax is up by 32.8%. Personal property replacement tax is up by 69.1%, and the income tax increase is partially due to the postponement of the filing due dates in 2020 and 2021. The Illinois Municipal League has reported that the personal property taxes increases are a result of the COVID-19 impacts on timing of tax payments and increased revenues from specific industries. Permit receipts are up 34.9%, or about $37,700 as compared to the prior year. Charges for services are higher by about $21,000, or 6.4%, due to increased ambulance fee receipts. Fine revenue is lower by approximately $16,000, or 23.9% compared to the prior year. The pandemic has impacted court fine receipts, and the state comptroller suspended its collection of past due amounts for those eligible based on reported income. Total general fund expenditures excluding the transfer to the capital projects fund are at 27.6% of the annual budget and about $379,000 or 13.2% lower than last year. The decrease is due to the delay in property taxes as the police pension contributions are recorded as the tax receipts are sent to the pension fund. And that concludes the finance report for this evening. So moving on, other reports, village clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. I have a few items to briefly report on. We recently received some important information regarding changes from the Cook County Clerk's Election Department that will have some impacts on the elections that will take place in 2022. First, the Illinois General Assembly passed legislation signed into law by the governor to move the gubernatorial primary election from March 17th to June 28th, 2022. There's no election this fall, and there will be no election in the spring of next year. The second change in the state law is that the November 8th, 2022 gubernatorial general election has been declared a state holiday and should be observed as a holiday for the purpose of voting. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Village treasurer?
No report tonight, Mr. President.
Okay, moving into the Commercial Revitalization Committee, Trustee Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. I have two items for the Commercial Revitalization Committee report. The first item being the committee met on September 28th and reported the upcoming proposal for RFPs for the streetscape improvement plan for the village market area. The committee discussed the key objectives for the plan, as well as anticipated project activities and deliverables, submittal requirements for consultants, and evaluation criteria. Staff anticipates releasing the RFP in early October. Second and final item, Dubuque Electric, 1201 Barnesdale Road. On August 24th, the village board approved an economic incentive agreement with Dubuque Industrial Holdings, LLC, for the redevelopment of 1201 Barnesdale Road. On September 21st, the Planning and Zoning Commission approved the site plan, and building department staff is now working on initial permitting for the project. And that concludes my report this evening, Mr. President Pro Tem.
Thank you, Trustee Stewart. Village engineer.
No report tonight, Mr. President Pro Tem.
The village attorney.
I have no report tonight, Mr. President Pro Tem.
Okay, I'll enter committee and collector's report. I'll entertain a motion to approve the committee and collector's report as presented. Second. All those, well, Megan, call the rolls.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Seidel?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, I have one item in the absence of the village president, I guess as President Pro Tem. We have a commission appointment possibly to make. The Sustainability Commission consists of 7 members appointed by the president with the advice and consent of the Board of Trustees. Each member serves a 3-year term. Due to the resignation of a current member, the commission has 1 vacancy. Upon review of the applications, it is recommended that Joseph Marino will be appointed to serve the remainder of a 3-year term expiring in May of 2022. Mr. Marino is a mechanical engineer and local office leader with Brown and Caldwell. He has dedicated his career to water conservation, clean energy, and environmental management. While the majority of Mr. Marino's work has been completed in large cities, he has a desire to make a direct impact on his local village and neighborhood. Mr. Marino has an extensive resume, has published several articles on renewable energy, and holds a BS in engineering mechanics from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Joseph Marino to the Sustainability Commission to serve the remainder of a 3-year term expiring in May of 2022.
Second.
Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Seidel?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Is Mr. Marino in the audience? Well, I would still like to publicly thank him for his willingness to contribute his time and his expertise. We all have reviewed his resume, and it clearly is outstanding. So to have first of all, the resources that live in our community, I feel very lucky. And number two, to have him willing to contribute his time and expertise to our village, we're very thankful for. So thank you, Mr. Marino, and we look forward to working with you through the Sustainability Committee. Let's see. And next point on the agenda is public participation for non-agenda related items only. Is there anyone who would like to address the board of non-agenda related items? You have 3 minutes, and we ask you to state your name, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Hi there. Do I leave my mask on?
You can take it off. Yeah.
Christine Fushi, 1201 Alima Terrace. I've lived in the village since 2008, and I live kitty corner from Bill's Place. Through the years, we've had some problems with Bill's. Garbage strewn over our lawn. We've called him, and he's closed his garbage cans. His delivery drivers speeding out of the alley to make deliveries. But most importantly, his delivery drivers who deliver his products to him. Through the years, I've emailed Chief Contois and Ms. Cedillo about this. I've sent photos, and they've discussed this with him and his son. It wasn't until August 27th, his delivery driver pulls up onto our apron, rolled over a boulder that we've placed there to avoid or to prevent them from doing this, and dragged the boulder across the street and left a divot in our parkway. They paid for it, but the problem is they're reversing into an exit of a one-way, and you have children now in with the school, and so I don't think discussions with him are cutting it anymore. He has a alley for these deliveries, and I think it needs to be utilized.
Thank you, Ms. Fucci. I know staff has been involved in this, and Village Manager Julia, I don't know if you have any comments that you'd like to add for current update.
Sure, I can start it off, and I can turn it over to Police Chief Contois for any additional information. But we have looked at the traffic circular pattern for the deliveries, and Chief Contois has had some recent discussion with Bill's Place owners. We think where we need to go now is an on-site visit to talk to them about some potential options. It is our understanding that some of the delivery drivers that are out there are not typical delivery drivers for what they are providing to the restaurant because of staffing shortages. So there's new folks coming in that are not familiar. So we can certainly use some increased communications, but I'll turn it over to the chief. But we think we just have to go out on site and conference with the business owner. Thanks, Rick.
So I've had several conversations with the owner and his partner regarding some complaints that we've received from residents in that area regarding delivery trucks. There's a couple problems that they've brought to my attention regarding access into the alley, as it is a one-way, and the proximity of the radius of the turn, and the trucks can't have difficulty making that turn. So as Village Manager Cedillo stated, we will be going out there to see if we can rectify the problem. We'll do what we can to assist the residents.
The one additional comment that I will be making is that regardless of the inconvenience of the path that the delivery trucks are taking, the delivery trucks cannot be parking in a manner where they are letting their deliveries occur in front of a driveway. Okay, they just can't do that. So if that is being observed or witnessed, give us a call so that we can go out there and respond and address it with the driver. I mean, that just can't happen regardless of what path that they choose. So I just want to make sure that because we talked about that earlier. I want to make sure that was clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fucci. Who else would like to address the board? Please state your name.
Hi. My name is Sarah Berquist. My husband George and I moved into 410 Newberry 18 years ago. We are here to talk about the house directly south of us, 406 Newberry. In 2005, shortly after we bought our home, 406 Newberry was sold and became a rental property. During this time, the home has fallen into decrepit condition. Basic upkeep of the house has never happened. In fact, it has continued to deteriorate all the time that we have lived here, so much so that we had to put up a fence to separate our shared driveway to keep our young children safe. We were so happy when the house sold in September of 2019. For a few months, it actually seemed as though the house was being renovated. Unfortunately, since then, the work has stopped. I cannot stress how many times this has happened. Only minimal work has been completed, and the house remains vacant and unfinished. The only permit visible was issued in March 2020 for interior renovation. They have gone through multiple contractors and workers, and yet the house has fallen into even greater disrepair. It had all its windows broken, letting in the elements for months. And for the last 4 months, the front porch has only been half built. Some windows are still not closed, and there's been building materials sitting on the front lawn for 4 months. These building materials create a hazard for passerbyers, including our elderly neighbors and families with young children. Not to mention, we have to look at it every single day. We are here to ask, to beg for you to understand that we've been patient, we've been understanding, but we need someone from the building department to inspect the property because nothing on it seems legal or safe. Last year, we had a plea to have the broken windows boarded up and the garage torn down due to animal infestation. These have been Band-Aids to a much larger problem, an unsafe home in our community, and we are asking you to intervene. I speak on behalf of myself and my neighbors. We have a petition signed with over 60 signatures about all this stuff that I've said, and we're looking to you to help address these issues.
We have copies of the petition and the signatures. I made like 10 copies. So.
With pictures.
And I'm sorry, I didn't catch your last name.
It's Berquist, Bergquist. Okay, we appreciate that. Sure.
I'll make sure that I get back things as I.
Thanks, Julia.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
And thank you so much for bringing this information to us.
Thank you all in advance.
Okay, and thanks for your patience too this evening. Thanks for coming. Anybody else who would like to address the board? Okay, any new business? And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Seidel?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan? Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you for attending.